Hi, welcome to the latest update. Time's flying by rapidly. Obviously, we're now into June. The last few weeks I have been doing some more work on the layout. I've now managed to get all the nodes that I'm going to use for the lower level at the moment in place. And I've now got it where I've got this node here, which is a node that we're testing, which has got the PCA 9685 on it. And that at the moment has only got 3 turnouts connected to it. This one here, and then these two crossover turnouts for the upper level, because obviously that's going to have some sections where it's two-way traffic, and the initial testing of that is coming along. I've been slowed down a little bit because obviously we introduced the latest software, which I call it the 2-servo 24IO frog. So that's got frog switching into it. There's one minor addition I want to add to it, which David and myself are looking into at the moment, and that's where it will send the target reached, which will come in handy for feedback as well. So, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. Obviously, now I do need to actually start putting all the spot detectors back in, making sure they're all commissioned in, and hopefully I'll show you some more of that on the nodes. Now, the original plan is to allow people to not have to do so much soldering. Obviously, when you're building a layout, you're going to need to learn some soldering skills, to be honest. So, for me, the merg kit for the CAN USB 4, that's a nice kit, but there is the commercial kit available if you don't want to solder. So in the UK, we do have Sprog LCC, and they do a USB LCC, which allows you to configure your nodes. We are sort of looking at something else that might do the job for us. So, keep an eye out for that coming in the future. So here you can see the node, which has got the PCA 9685 and a single MCP 23017. Now the software will support multiple MCPs and multiple PCA 9685s, as well as offering native servos, which will have 3 positions at the moment, which will work nicely, I think, for the likes of semaphore signals or some basic servo animations on the layout. Obviously, this one has not been released yet because we are still in the early stages of testing. You'll notice here that I've now put this type of MCP 23017 in, but I also soldered the screw terminals onto it rather than the DuPont connectors. Again, you'll notice here, this here is my 12-volt bus. This has got a 2 amp fuse connection on it to the PCA power supply I use. Then for the 5 volts for the PCA 9685, I'm using this 5-volt buck converter here. So that, I think, is a good way to go. For the 3.3 volts, I have got, or this one hasn't had it connected up yet, there will be a 3.3 volt bus here, and that will be used for the various infrared spot detectors that I use to power those. Obviously, they then feed back into the ESP32 to show when they have been triggered. Then the other thing I have been working on, in the past I had the servos mounted below the baseboard. Now in theory here you can see I do have basically an inch of foam, then some sculpture mold, or I've got cork bed lining. So by the time the little bar would come up, it was not the best way of doing it. Obviously, these are the ones I had been using. Now these, Steve Lomax, one of our members of our area group, this was something he released a number of years ago on Thingiverse, and this would work well. I only found out about Steve's involvement in these when he came round the other week to visit the layout. I say these ones are working fine because it, That's 9mm ply I use, and then the cork bed. So by going to this method here, you can see I'm using some new servos. These are the gear drive ones, and so far they seem pretty good. A little bit quieter than the plastic versions, and then all I've done is I've 3D printed a small piece here that is glued very lightly onto the steel bar, and then they fit nicely on there, and a little dab of hot glue. So if there was ever any serious movement, which I've not seen up to now, that will just pop off. And then this is another section that I've done the same type of thing on. So there's lots of work. Originally I was going to be putting the modules into here, but I suddenly found, it's getting a little bit cramped. So I've now sort of putting the electronics underneath the baseboard where I can work. I'm using the chair that I showed a few years ago, or a few months ago, sorry. Obviously that's what I use when I'm working on the layout. Now this one again is working for the servos, so it does allow me to start running the trains now on the full layout. Obviously I need to get all the spot detectors back in and then get the configurations all sorted on the modules. Then in this area again, I've got the servo under here, and then the old Hornby signal box that I've shown how to do the roof tiles, and so far I've shown how to do the ridge tile. Here you can see that model coming along with the brickwork done. Still needs a lot of weathering. This bit here needs painting up and whatnot, but I'm quite happy that's going to sit there now. So that's a nice reuse of an old bit of kit that I had, and I feel it's coming to life now. Obviously I think I will put some lights in it and a few 3D printed figures. I do have one figure that I think will work for the inside of that. So these are the figures that Russ Davis has done. Obviously he's been involved in the Merg 3D Sig side of it, running that with me, and I think he's made a great job of this. I think this was done originally, I'm not 100% certain, I think he did this in Make Human and then a bit of work in Blender, and I think they came out nice, hence why they're on my layout here. So I think those will make it into the signal box in the future, and hopefully in the near future Russ has started doing some more work with Meshi and AI for figures, so hopefully they will get shown with the 3D Sig videos that we release, and also on his 3D Railway Modeller's website. Then another thing I think I'm going to reuse, this is the original Minic panel that used to be used over here, which controlled all the different routes around the layout that could be served by that station. And I'd shown this in a previous video when I was using CMRI nodes. So this, which is actually upside down, it should be this way around, this will be getting a bit of repurposing. Now here you can see I was using an Arduino Mega, and the wiring is a little bit messy at the moment, so this will get reworked I think. Even though I'm going to have a main Mimic panel here, the beauty of using the LCC and the CAN network is I can have multiple Mimic panels as long as I use momentary push buttons. You can press a push button either here, here, or over here when this goes in, and they shouldn't conflict. The only thing I'm having to work at the moment is the starter date to make sure that the LEDs will all be in sync on startup.